A top United States Navy Admiral just publicly called Bitcoin a tool of power projection in the standoff between the US and China. That is not even the biggest story today. XRP whales are quietly unwinding leverage, and the order books are bracing for either a breakout or a brutal shakeout. Solana Volatility just collapsed to a record low, with the next 3-day close deciding the trend. AVAX is flashing bullish signals above the EMA20 with $10 resistance right overhead. And Ripple is now actively using XRP to solve the last mile problem in global payments, not in theory, in production. Stick around for story 5. It is the most underrated signal almost nobody is talking about. Okay, so here on Crypto in 60, your daily crypto bite, let us dive in. Quick note before we start. If you want 5 stories like this every morning before markets open, hit subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. Now let us start with the Admiral. Forbes is reporting that a top United States Navy Admiral has openly called Bitcoin a tool of power projection. And look, this is not some random opinion column. This is a serving flag officer saying out loud that the US, China, Iran, and Russia are all leveraging Bitcoin to advance their strategic interests. Think about what that actually means. Bitcoin is no longer being framed as just an asset. It is being framed as geopolitical infrastructure at the highest levels of the US military. BTC is sitting at $78,100 while this conversation is happening, and the people setting global policy are now publicly treating it like steel, oil, or semiconductors. Once that framing locks in, it does not unlock. While the Admiral is on stage talking power projection, XRP traders are watching a much quieter storm build under the surface. CoinPaper is calling this the calm before XRP's storm, and the setup is genuinely on a knife's edge. XRP is sitting at $1.43. Order flow data shows whales are quietly unwinding positions, while leverage across the board is resetting. Now here is where it gets, complicated. On one side, the bulls have a textbook coiled spring. Whale accumulation, leverage flushed, and exchange outflows of nearly 35 million tokens in a single move. That is a breakout setup. On the other side, the bears see whales unwinding as distribution and a leverage reset right before a brutal flush lower into the high $1 teens. And honestly, I do not know which side wins this one. Both stories fit the same chart. My take? The next 3 sessions decide it, and the volume on the breakout candle is what you watch, not the price. We will find out soon. While XRP coils, Solana is doing the exact opposite. CoinTurk is reporting that Solana Volatility has dropped to a record low, with Sol trading right around $85. Resistance sits at 94. Support sits at 77. And the data point I cannot stop thinking about. The next 3-day close is what decides the trend from here. Look, when volatility compresses this hard on a major like Sol, it almost never stays quiet. The chart either rips toward 94 or it slices 77 and hunts liquidity below. That is just how these compressions resolve. Quick question for you. Are you holding Sol through this 3-day close, or are you trimming into the 94 resistance? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one of them. While Sol sits dead quiet, AVAX is the one quietly flashing green. Coinatag's technical breakdown is showing AVAX printing bullish signals above the EMA20 in a clear upward trend. Price is at $9.51, up just under 1% on the day. Now here is the catch. Supertrend is still bearish. $10 resistance is right overhead, and the $9.29 support is, that is the line that has to hold. The risk-reward is balanced because of BTC correlation, so AVAX moves are tied to whatever Bitcoin decides to do at 78,000. Break $10 on volume and AVAX opens up the next leg. Lose $9.29 and the bullish thesis is done. It is binary. While AVAX is fighting that $10 wall, Ripple just dropped what might be the most underrated story of the day. Times Tabloid is reporting on a post from crypto researcher Smuck that almost nobody is talking about. Ripple is actively using XRP right now in production to solve the last mile problem in global payments. The last mile is the hardest part of cross-border payments, the final hop where money actually settles into the recipient's local currency and account. SMUC is stating clearly, this is not theoretical anymore. XRP is sitting at $1.43 while this is happening. So while everyone else is arguing about $13 price targets and ETF inflows, Ripple is just quietly plugging XRP into real settlement rails. By the time the headlines catch up to what is already live, the move is already made. A US Navy Admiral framing Bitcoin as geopolitical power projection. XRP coiled between a breakout and a flush. Solana volatility at a record low before a decisive 3-day close. AVAX flashing bullish above the EMA20 into $10 resistance. And Ripple using XRP Live to solve the last mile in global payments. Today is the day. Institutional framing, technical compressions, and real utility all lined up at once. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research and never put in more than you can afford to lose. If this saved you an hour of scrolling today, subscribe. That is what I am here for. 5 stories, every morning, no fluff. See you tomorrow.